Hello, my name is Brendan, and my character's name is Dorin Duskmourn. He is a dwarf, so he's a cleric of the Twilight Order. When you look at Dorin, he is a little bit on the big side for a dwarf, so he is around 5 foot tall, but he's not big and stocky like you imagine other mountain dwarves. He is rather more lean and wiry, but you can see this kind of strength underneath that as well. The first thing you notice about Dorin is his shock of red-brown hair, and he also has a big bushy red beard kind of down to his navel. When Dorin looks at you, he has a very kind of smouldering intensity. He wears armor, as befitting his station as a Dusk Knight. He is drawn to protect others.
Hello, I'm Scott. My character is Avery Dumas. He is, well, he's a bit of a wheeler dealer, a bit of a scoundrel, because actually he's to a degree undead. We were lying there in our coffin, and some maniac called Godfrey ripped me out from the ground. A bit of a mad night for me, to be honest. One of many to follow. Dumas, he's about 6 foot tall, blonde as you can expect, a short beard. He wears an eye patch over his eye, concealing this sort of misty, undeathly seeing orifice.
Hello, my name is Morris. That's all you're getting. I am Magister and Professor Gottfried Bauch Wilhelm Friedrich Schopenhauer. My character is a man probably in his 60s, a thin, gaunt body, rather lost in elaborate robes of some obscure office. His very serious expression fending off all oncomers on his face. I am one of the foremost scholars of Brenier, a leading authority in the arcane, metaphysics, theology, philology, etc., etc. Yeah, okay, I think that's it. I am going to have a cup of coffee.
Hello, I'm Grace Kelly Miller and I'm playing Georgina Flock, also known as George or Georgie by her friends. And she's a broad, muscular, strong woman in her early 30s. She's 5'11", though appears 6 foot with her dirty blonde and grey hair piled up in plaits on top of her head. She wears a jumbled mix of humble country clothing with moments of knitwear, all topped off with a very fine cream doublet. Overall, she has the look of someone who has been on quite the bender or rager, as she's a barbarian. Yet, despite this rough around the edges look, her grey eyes seem to sparkle with a zest for life.
We're back with more Duskmourn Chronicles. Hopefully you're all loving the intros that we are now doing to recap everything, hopefully. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to recap what happened in last week's episode, which wasn't a huge amount. There was just lots going on.
Contradicts your inevitable.
Yeah. The Dice of Destiny will decide who is going to tell us what happened last week, so you don't have to go and watch the whole episode, although I would recommend that you do anyway. And it is not Dorin.
Success.
Fantastic. Oh, it's Avery.
Well, I don't think these dice mean anything. It's just
They do. There's a system. There's a system.
Having spent a bit of time in the crime criminal's lair, I think that was what kind of criminal we landed on.
Yes,
They were very crimey.
Yes.
It wasn't a legal criminal.
We found some crates, some bloodied logs, and we decided to venture forth into the night because no assistance was coming. Well, forthcoming perhaps. We had a bit of trouble navigating the streets, but we did eventually make it to the 3 towers where we were advised to go. There was a bit of discussion which of the 3 towers was the 3rd tower, but a helpful bat saw through ears and found some undisturbed dust, and we decided that was the right one to hit. We caused a bit of a ruckus, a bit of a crowd mob, and through the confusion, a couple of our comrades snuck into the tower, where they gathered the money that was left for us, found the name of the ship, which was the Granica. Granica, I can read my own handwriting. And we
Alphonse came to the rescue.
Alphonse came to the rescue, pointing the guards in the wrong direction, while
Alphonse!
the rest of us will surely venture forth.
It's going to be easy from now on, right?
Yeah, to the ship. Adventure completed.
Bum.
Game over.
Oh, I don't like that for looks.
Sure, let's see what happens next.
Shit.
Right, hello. You've seen the recap for today's episode. Hopefully we remembered to record it. Yes, we're all here. We're all ready to play. And so let's do that. Right, what are you doing? Oh, wait, my job. So yes.
Jesus.
I don't know what's going on. We've had coffee.
A lot of coffee.
Yeah, all the decaf coffee in the world. Right, so the tower that you were in, where you had gathered that information, you had then been able to walk straight through those large double doors leading into the port of the city. And once you're through the large gates, ships abound everywhere. Of course, it is dark, but the ships are well lit. They've got their sentry torches going, so every ship knows where everyone else is. No one is allowed to leave or to embark at all. However, whenever you pass a patrol of guards, which is irregularly, all you do is hold up that red handkerchief and they just let you straight through. They don't even stop to ask questions.
Nice. Got a passcode. Very good. So can we find the Granica? Is that obvious, or do we need to look around a little bit?
You do take some time trying to find the Granica because there aren't many people to ask, hey, where's the Granica? But every now and again, there are some sailors who've come off of the ship because they're not allowed to leave the port-controlled area, but they're allowed to leave the ship. They send you on. The Granica is quite a proud-looking ship. She has 3 masts, square-rigged, as is the tradition of the human fleets. She's definitely a human-built ship as well. Quite graceful, sitting quite high in the water. And as you approach, a figure wearing a rather large tricorn hat with a big feather sticking out of the top of it eyes Avery as he approaches with his hat and large feather.
We're not going to compete for the largest hat, are we?
The captain adjusts her hat. It isn't a competition. I've already won. Welcome to the Granica.
Captain Benteen, I assume?
You assume correctly.
Maybe come aboard?
Indeed, please do with all haste. We have assurances from the harbour master that we will not be shot upon should we try and leave.
It is comforting.
This window closes at dawn.
As I step onto the gangplank with a very dramatic doffing of the cap and swoop it back onto my head.
Give me a performance check.
That I bardically can.
Burning all the spells just to make an impression.
That's a 22.
Ooh.
Her doffing. What level is she?
What level doff?
Double doff. Oh,
It's a feat. Duffer.
Doth it.
22 as well.
Oh, I love
We match.
it. Let's face it, dude, you're in love immediately.
She takes you to your quarters.
Can I just roll a perception check as Avery was doffing his hat?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
What are you looking for
Looking
specifically?
on his head. I got 15.
What does the top of your head look like? Unless you're trying to hide.
It's
It's dark.
well, your eyes. Though.
is true.
Your eyes. Where the skin on my anywhere that's currently visible looks, healthy, shade of pink. Where I haven't been applying what you now see to be makeup, the skin is grey and decaying and cracked and very rudimentarily stitched together. There's several zigzagging stitch marks covering the top of my bonds.
Right. Can I do a perception check?
You can. What are you looking for?
I want to see if I notice his perception of, of this. And I've got a 19.
You still have the eyes of night.
And I still have the eyes of night.
You do.
So if I notice you clocking
you
that...
do, because I got a 15, you got a 19.
Yes, you
So
definitely
lots of
do.
clocking going on.
Yeah.
Georgie, do you want to
So-
clock something as well?
You want to clock him clocking my clock?
Yeah, clock the clocking of the clock.
I'm just distracted by the hat, to be fair. It's a really nice hat.
So I will just mutter something like, yeah, I had to make him a special ointment because those wounds are very bad and necrosis has set in.
Necrosis can be a very dangerous
It
disease,
is
Gottfried.
very important that he
Yes.
gets his...
Very important that necrosis does not set in.
Indeed.
Otherwise, particularly throughout the body.
Of course, but that is death, but he's not there yet.
Shall we?
Indeed, you may place your figures upon the ship as we have embarked. And the moment that you are...
Oh, sorry, you're on the ship.
Yeah, she wants to be looking at.
Resurrection.
Is Alexander?
Yeah, where would we like Alexander?
the prince is standing next to the edge. He's very excited.
Okay, there we go. I'll keep an eye on him.
Are we going to sink pirates?
Sink pirates.
Yes.
Oh, well, we may come across some. We may have necessities. We may befriend pirates. You just don't know, Alexander.
You know what we're supposed to do to pirates?
What are we supposed to do to pirates?
We're supposed to take them and put them in the metal cages and hang them on the edge of the harbour until they rot.
Oh, that sounds quite extreme.
I think that's called a gibbet.
On
That thing.
that thing, yeah. I mean, I didn't know what it was called either. I mean, you know, sometimes pirates are just people who feel the need to live out on the sea, and I've met lots coming through a nearby town, and they're all right, you know. They're not as bad as you might think. I mean, a lot of people aren't as bad as you might think.
I thought you told me that everyone was going to try and kill me. That's pretty bad.
I mean, of course, if they're trying to kill you, that's pretty bad. You've got to defend yourself then. But, I mean, not everybody is. Something weird is going on in your city, I'm afraid, my boy. But
All right. So if the pirates try to kill me, then we can put them in the gibbet.
that sounds like a plan. We're going the right way.
Then I hope some pirates try to kill me.
Sure.
The damage has already been done to this child.
Remind me how old he is again.
He's about 14.
That figures, yeah.
Very good. Yeah.
Well,
The
at least he's got a
captain-
tablet.
Captain Benteen.
Xbox.
Yeah, doing the traditional killing pirates. None of the house.
It's healthy, it's outdoor stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's in the fresh air. You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Benteen looks at all of you. Your benefactor has paid me to transport you to anywhere in Braxia. Where are you heading? We need to set course and leave soon.
Very good question.
Let's get the ship on the way, and as we're on the way, so we're not wasting any time, we'll come up with the destination. I need to confer with my colleagues here a little bit.
Very well. In
Yeah.
that case, then, you may use my quarters as your temporary base of operations. It should give you discretion.
Thank you, most
have
gracious.
You have a map there as well, I assume? We can
Yes,
peruse?
absolutely.
Perfect. Shall we?
You all move in to the captain's quarters. There is a map there, but unlike Captain Benteen, I actually don't have a physical map for you. I should have got one.
That's okay.
But nonetheless, yes, what are you talking about?
I vote the Elven lands.
Why the elves?
Because of the libraries that will allow us possibly to identify the rod that was used. The rod referred to in the message, if you remember. The rod that can send messages back towards the past. As
Have
I
you
said,
actually told us what this message is yet?
I don't think he has, but I
don't
think he thinks he has.
I think he thinks he has.
he-
You
No, I
said
did.
you said you've got something important in this book, and then you went off for a grump.
Oh.
So if you could explain to us what's in this message, that
one
would.
I told you already. I'm terribly sorry. My future self has sent me a 25-word message.
How did you send yourself a message from the future?
I'm not entirely sure, but the message itself refers to a rod that enables a person to do this. And the message is short, 25 words. So I believe that I had to communicate a great deal in a short space of time. So it's not crystal clear.
What's the message?
This is not for you, Alexander. You're too young.
Look, he's learning. He's got to learn.
Well, very well. So, as someone called Belcorson, I don't know who this person is, will try to open a portal to the Shadowfell using a ritual that involves 6 crystals. And he possesses or she or it, I do not know, possesses a rod that can be used to send messages to the past. Now, clearly, it is not a coincidence that I receive a message from the future that refers to a rod that can do just that. If I make the assumption, and of course it is an assumption, that this Belcore song has something to do with the predicament that we now find ourselves in, then I would imagine, also I should say that the Belcore song is identified in the message as a lich. Very bad. Undead wizard, extraordinarily evil. So a villain, you understand?
Okay. Undead, bad. Right, got that.
So,
Did you tell yourself how to defeat that, maybe?
No. Well, in a way. So if he is conducting this ritual, clearly we want to stop the ritual from occurring. No? Because if a lich is doing something, it tends to be bad.
Yeah.
One thing we can think about is we find what the ritual is that requires 6 crystals, and perhaps we destroy said crystals or sequester them somewhere where they cannot be found, and then the lich will not be able to perform his ritual. Likewise for the rod, because my assumption is this. If I am an evil lich and I want to do evil things and I can send messages to the past, what do? I send myself messages to my former self to go, oh, this is going to happen on then this, so you should do that. You understand? And maybe to my allies as well. Now, if we take this power from the lich in advance, because remember, we are in that lich's past, we destroy this rod, or again, sequester it away where it cannot be used. He never gets to send those messages. And perhaps the predicament we find ourselves in simply dissolves. We kill it in the crib, if you would excuse the infanticidal metaphor. So that is what I'm thinking.
Right. Well, seeing as you've got the only clue, or maybe a completely unrelated clue, that sounds like a useful place to go
now,
then.
there is one proviso, of course. So I received this message, I recognize it as my own thoughts. But of course, deception, illusion is a part of magic. So we have to remember this might all be some fiendish double think, you understand? So that I am being deceived to do something that actually helps the lich.
Maybe you are the lich and you've sent that back to
really
stop yourself getting defeated.
I understand your suspicions.
You are pretty old.
In that,
In fact, more realistically, he's old and a bit mad now. 20 years.
you people are
future now.
ageist, and I don't like it.
I'm just
Now,
Far future.
I'm spitballing.
I have no ambitions in that direction, and my name is not Belcore Song. I named the villain.
I don't even know your name.
That's a very good point. We have never been introduced. This is
No, I mean,
extraordinarily rude.
I've been told that you're a twat from the Twat Palace, but that's about it.
Well, shall we attempt a more polite introduction? My name is Gottfried. Pleased to meet you. Your name is Georgina, I believe.
Georgina Flock. George or Georgie to my friends, so definitely Georgina to you.
Miss
for now.
Flock.
Oh,
In that case, you might call me Professor. Now, so, again, there are means at our disposal, perhaps not immediately, by which we can establish whether this message is a deception or not. Both of us, I believe, and perhaps you as well. You are not a spellcaster, so that's okay. Perhaps we can establish this, and also, if we have access to a library, and the elves have the best, we can find out about this ritual and about the rod.
You say the bad guys, undead.
Well, if you remember at the coronation, those people what blew up his. They looked pretty undead as well, didn't they?
Doran can't stay silent. Undead are the bane of the universe. If there's a lich involved, as you say,
Undead, you say?
then we must hunt down any undead and smite them from the earth.
Bear in mind that the individual in question may not be a lich yet.
But aspirations to become a lich, they must be stopped, I agree.
Of course.
Totally. Any undead we meet must be raised from the earth. It's an abomination to halve off.
No, that's... Did it? Oh, you finished? So...
But then we should go and get the sword.
yes, the
Sword?
Life and Song. I'm sorry, you must excuse me. Old man, memory is not so good. The Life and Song was also referenced in the message. Now, the Life and Song is a very powerful magical sword that apparently can only be wielded by kings. And I gesture towards Alexander.
you know all about that then, Alexander?
Yes. In the event of an invasion by undead, the Life and Song has to be retrieved and used by a king because it kills undead.
There is one proviso. Unfortunately, Alexander, the message states that the Life and Song will not prevail. Now, this does not mean it is not necessary, but it means it is not sufficient. So maybe we have to have it, but it will not be enough. You understand?
But the other swords don't work against undead.
Yeah, so it may be necessary, but
One
not
thing
enough.
that does work against the undead, Alexander, is the faith. So
Can
Halvoth
you evangelise later?
I'm behind you.
Halvoth and his disciples will turn the undead, destroy undead. We have the power to do this, granted to us by Halvoth. So life and song is not the only... I'm not looking behind me, I know you're doing something. Life and song is not the only thing that can defeat undead,
This
Alexander.
mate of yours, he's pretty on it
Okay.
with this undead stuff.
It is a preoccupation.
Well, I mean, the sword is
Twilight
with
Order.
the priest in Valenhold.
Oh, this is it.
Valenhold.
Right.
Valenhold within the world of Braxia. Valenhold is the religious capital
God.
of it's the epicenter. All of the gods, except for the one who's not named, the god of oblivion, all of the gods have massive temples built in Valenhold. The temples got so big and close to each other that the corridors, the streets, eventually started to get actually completely covered. So they just filled it in with stained glass. So the entire city is one gigantic rose window over the interior, which is full of a kaleidoscope of colors.
And is this a city in Brunei?
It is in the Brunei, it's in northern Brunei. Although of all of the cities, this is the one that is least Brianese because it's filled with pilgrims from everywhere. And all of the gods are there. The gods don't have any animosity amongst each other necessarily, so you're free to wander into Temple of Reft, wander out and go into Ma'at or wherever. It doesn't make a difference. But Valenhold is considered like the religious epicenter.
That is a good idea, Alexander.
Oh,
Especially if life and song is
surprise,
mentioned
surprise.
in your
It's something
message.
that will not be enough.
Yes, but at least
Couldn't it be
was
dragons?
What?
The bad guy.
There's such a thing as a Dracolich, yeah, but I don't...
No, it can't be. Well, because then we can go get the lance.
And what is the lance?
The lance, Dragon's Bane. That would allow me to ride on a unicorn and impale all the dragons that I came across.
Well, that does sound really fun, doesn't it?
Unless
where-
it's trolls. Could it be
where-
trolls?
One thing at a time, Alexander. This Dragon's Bane is also in Valenhold, yeah?
Yes, in the Vault of Kings.
The Vault of Kings, of course.
Is it all in the Vault of Kings? All these different...
Most of it, yes. Unless we're being invaded by merfolk.
At which point,
We have to go back to Hwoden Lee.
Oh, good God.
Right, well, if we put merfolk to the bottom, and we've got this premonition message from the future about life and song, it's a good place to start, right? And we need to get out there sharpish, so shall we go tell the captain?
All right.
I think so.
But Valenhold's not a coastal city.
Well, we can go up.
It's it's sort of in the middle of Brunei. You would probably travel to a town called Milken, which is the northernmost section of Brunei, bearing in mind that that is North Brunei, so that's under a different king. Still falls under the High King. Your king that was assassinated was the Southern King.
And what are relations like?
Relations are fine because it's two kingdoms with a superior kingdom. Think of Scotland and Wales under the control of one big king type of thing. Having said that, Valenhold is very heavily protected and guarded. Whereas the elves obviously are not looking for king killers at the moment.
Well, that's a very good idea, young prince. And I pull out one of the oranges and I say, I would reward you with this, but I've heard that praise is a better reward rather than giving gifts to young lads, so I'm just going to eat this in front of you.
You really
Okay.
need to spend more time with kids, like,
Or,
Or
maybe not.
no time
or
with
no
kids.
time with
Georgie. Yeah.
There's one problem though. I won't be able to open the Vault of Kings.
You're not the king yet.
Yes.
You need to be crowned.
Yes.
Yes.
is there
By the High King himself, herself? Himself?
Well, yes.
And where does the High King reside?
The High King. Oh, well, the High King has different residences. Grathan, for example. Grathan is about 250 miles north of Hwoden Lee, but by land, it's right in the middle of the Thousand Spire mountain range. So the High
And if
King
we
stays
just
there.
rock up with a prince and be...
Yeah.
I don't think that's a good idea. So what we have on the table now is head up to try and
We have to
retrieve
figure
them.
out who's trying to kill me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then we can stop them and then we can make everything right?
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
But first we need to make sure you're safe.
Hmm.
Because we can't find out who's going to try and kill you.
If
Well,
they
I mean,
kill-
we could if we'd set a trap, but I don't want to set a trap.
Wait a second.
He just spoke his language.
I think you've had enough today. Like, you've had a lot going. We need to get you away from here and get you safe, all right?
Okay,
know I
so
said you
we're
need-
safe then.
Well,
Elves.
we could head to
Elves, yeah, very
could
far
head
away.
to- I mean, the Twilight Order has protectorates all over the land. There's one across the water in the land of the Dwarves kingdom, of course. The Elves, there is also a protectorate there.
Well, if we can then kill two birds with one stone, we go to the Elves, we can find out more about this message, and we can also protect the boy from, in another nation altogether, where there are no agents of whoever did this.
The Elves sounds reasonable to me, Gottfried.
Good.
Delay the homecoming a little bit longer, Georgie.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I go where my feet take me, so if that's where you two think is the right place to go, I'm down with that. You all right with that, Alexander?
I've only seen the elves when they came to the castle. I've never been there. Apparently it's quite nice.
That sounds pretty good then, doesn't it?
They are
You have to be
capable of...
bold.
You have to be bored.
Bald. Most of them are bald.
Well, they might have an exception for us this time. If not, I think you look very good bald.
He's not entirely sure how to take that. He kind of melts down into his glands going, would I look good with this? How do we yield out a compliment from
Doran turns to him. Cherish the moments when you still have hair, boy. Doesn't get any easier. So
Shall we?
I set towards the Elves. Yes?
Do we have any idea the distance involved to get to the Elven lands? They're in the north, right?
The elves, yes. From Hwoden Lee, you would basically sail a little bit around Brunei, and then you'd sail over the Kabali. It's not far at all to the Elvish lands. And you have a name for the individual in charge of the Elvish lands. I did not write this down, so if you give it to me now, I can edit it into
It's the
book.
Cathar Solidarity?
No, it is the
Athene
Athene
Democracy.
Democracy.
Gal, Rel, Umbrathelin. Sorry, Gav, Rel, Umbrathelin. Gav, Rel, Umbrathelin. She is the High Elf in charge of the Twilight Protectorate in Athene Democracy.
Yes, and that rank would be a Veil Keeper.
She is a... Sure, Veilkeeper.
Because there's only one Dusk Warden, right?
Yes, there's only one
Yes,
Dusk
so she's a Veil Keeper. Right. Do you relay this to Captain Benteen?
Yep, make
Very
it
good.
so.
All right. The captain nods. The closest port is Quethlin. Is that where you want to go? Anyone can give me a history check to know what Quethlin's all about?
17.
17? Ugh. No.
I got it.
Geography is. What do I look like? An atlas?
Don't go places.
On a 17, Quethlin is known as the City of Whispers. Not because of deep, dark secrets being traded, although arguably there might be. It's mainly because you're not allowed to shout. But that's pretty true for most Elvish establishments. The Athene Democracy is all about cold, logical quietness, contemplation, repetition of the same act 1,000 times before you are considered to even have started. Yes, but Quethlin itself is made out of 6 very large towers, each interconnected with bridges and walls to create this sort of circular space around which the central garden is supposedly spectacular and brings peace and calm and contemplation to any who might enter it.
Very nice. The tower's numbered.
They are actually grouped by their function. So there is a Tower of Commerce, there is a Tower of Education, there's a Tower of Administration, Tower of Defense, a Tower of... I have to look at what the rest of the towers are, I can't remember. There's an accommodation tower as well, which is where everyone stays. Yeah.
Would it be fair to say that the elves are likely to have the best libraries in the
Oh,
world,
absolutely.
given that they live?
Without a doubt, the best libraries. They are notoriously cagey about sharing their libraries with non-elves. They're worried that you might read the book too quickly. In which case, how could you possibly have understood what the book was about?
We have a book or two we might offer them in exchange.
Oh, very nice, very nice. The other thing that you need to know about the Athene democracy is the word democracy is applied here very much in the Greek sense. There are two castes. There is the ruling class, and then there are the slaves. When you are born, it is decided for you whether you join the ruling class or the slave. So a king and queen might give birth to a slave. And a slave might give birth to a prince or a princess. It depends on what is required at the time. The slaves are always elvish, and they're the ones that shave their heads, as they should own nothing at all. And they are perfectly content to live out their 1,000 years of servitude because they believe that Helvarth will bring them back and they will get another shot at being at a higher rank, but also that they can learn from their servile state. It was hella confusing to the dwarves and the humans who were like, okay, someone just writes down in a book, slave, not slave, and that's it forever, regardless of what you do. It is. That's what they claim anyway.
And how do they treat outsiders?
Patronizingly. Short-lived species, you run around, make split decisions. But they're not discourteous. They will trade very fairly. There is no negotiation with an elvish trader. The price has been set based on all of the contingent factors that have contributed to that particular price, plus a small overhead to ensure the continuation of said trade. Yes. Infuriating.
I think you're going to enjoy this guy.
Okay, you tell Benteen. Quethlin it is then.
Yes.
Very well. It should take us no more than 5 days to get to Quethlin, provided that the winds remain high and that our journey is uninterrupted. I do not see any reason for interruption, although the port of Hwoden Lee has been shut down during this calamitous event. Everywhere else seems to be operating normally. Would you want to put in anywhere else? We will be passing the city of Toll. That's the last human city. Or do we make straight for Quethlin?
My feeling is to go straight to Quethlin, I must say. Get there as quickly as possible. Get ahead of this a little bit, whatever it is, yeah? We don't want to risk any further issues on the land.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Just get Alexander out of here.
My one concern is that whatever agents are set against us here, they're only going to use their foothold and whatever power they've already gained. By the time we return, we have no idea what we'll be facing.
Well, hopefully we will learn something in that respect, you know.
There's not much else we can do right now.
Let us arm ourselves in some knowledge and some understanding, and Halvoth will guide our steps.
Knowledge is power.
Sure.
Very good. Your ship sails out of the Hwoden Lee harbour, and you've been on a ship before, so this doesn't surprise you. The rest of you, if you have not been on a ship before, you have as well.
Yeah, I have a proficiency in ship vehicles.
Oh, there we go. The lighthouse that guards Hwoden Lee's harbour is always an unusual sight because it patrols the coast on its 4 buttress-like legs, looking for rogue vessels.
Cool.
Yes. Godfrey, you also know that this particular lighthouse can burn a ship at sea up to half a mile away. It is known as the Great Defender of the Hwoden Lee Bay. It paces and watches you with a steady beam for a while before you have eventually cleared the outer markings of Hwoden Lee and have entered into the great black ocean, for it is, of course, midnight. The captain offers you some basic wine, some cheeses, and some breads. Her cabin is yours for the duration of the journey. If you have anything that you need, you merely need to ask and she will do her best to provide. But she does remind you this is not a pleasure cruise. This is an evacuation.
I will huddle up in a corner somewhere, sit with my book closed in front of me, and observers will note, so there's a face, a very simple face in this, that I'm kind of gesticulating as if I'm in conversation, although just staring at a book cover.
He's finally lost it.
Finally, he says. I don't know
Doran
if he ever had
shakes
it.
his head.
The prince takes the bed because he's already fallen asleep at this stage.
Yeah, Georgie will like tuck him in and kind of try to be some warmth as a kind of maternal type. She's not really a maternal type, but she can relate to having nobody when you lose a parent and wants to be there for him as best she can.
Lovely.
Imagine having a rage monster as a mom. It's terrifying.
The next 3 days, the ship plows through the great dark blue ocean that separates Brunei from the Elvish territory. And by the afternoon of the third day, you can already start to see the Elvish coastline starting to appear. It is quite different from Brunei. Brunei, there are forests, but the forests seem to be light and not as dense. These Elvish forests, the trees seem much, much taller, and their growth seems far, far older than the forests of Brunei. You also can't see very many plains or open rolling fields. There are no sheep here. It is all just forest. And by the morning of the fourth day, you see 6 great ivory white towers standing right in the middle of the ocean, separate from the land, except by one very large bridge which communicates to a smaller town of sorts on the mainland itself. The ship has to dock outside of these 6 towers, not with the actual 6 towers itself, at a series of almost island-like quays that it docks with. Once it is docked, an Elvish supervisor approaches, bald, speaks to the captain in a few very short words. The captain then comes back to the 4 of you. How long are you going to be here for?
Several days at least.
2 days only. But
I have been paid for a week of services.
a week then.
How do we get out of here?
If you wish to extend that, I can be persuaded to remain here for a week and then talk about passage back to Brunei, if that's where you're going.
What is your rates?
Our rate is 15 gold a head per day.
We have what, 300?
5 of us. So that's what,
Go do some sums.
75 goldies. So we could stay essentially 3 days extra.
Are there any concession prices for a young gentleman?
With an amazing doffing technique.
Are you trying to charm this captain?
Sure, yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
He fucking is.
Go ahead.
I mean,
You
are
can
there
choose.
any concessions?
That's better.
That's more like it.
Show a
He's
little
probably been
leg, love.
trying to charm her for a couple of
Oh,
days,
dear.
right?
Yeah.
Show her a
Persuasion
little
check,
leg.
for me, please.
Aye?
Persuasion. That was a natural 20 with a +7.
Oh!
Are there any concessions?
20 days. 20 days.
I have one question for you, and this is a yes or no question.
Shoot, baby.
You just undo that.
Phrasing. Phrasing. On the first night of the voyage, did you sleep alone or did you accept the invitation?
I accepted the invitation.
He fucking did.
And then the next night and the next night. So by the fourth day, when you say, are there any concessions? The captain's ears redden considerably. I suppose I could delay the departure of the ship, in which case, if we're sailing back to Brunei, it would cost maybe 20 gold just for the food and supplies, and that would be it.
Good work.
This is amenable to us. And I tip her back, and you can't quite see what's happening behind her massive hats, but presume it's passion.
It is as if the feathers themselves were coming together as some sort of ostrich mating ceremony. Yes. All right. So, yes, 20 gold for a return trip.
Great.
Oh, dear.
Another NPC lost to a bard's charm.
So we should make our way to try and see Gavrel Umbrathelen, the Veilkeeper of Ethane Democracy. I guess that's the first port of call.
Mm-hmm.
I think she could help us to understand the machinations of the court here a little bit.
All right. The island that you were docked with, you realize is constructed out of white marble. And within 10 minutes of docking, a small double-hulled craft, like a catamaran, has sailed out from the Six Towers and is now docked up alongside your vessel. This, the captain tells you, will take you to Quethlin, and it will bring you back one trip per day. Use it wisely. Not my rules, by the way. That's the Elvish rules, she says.
Okay.
All right.
I guess, well, we're going to go to Quethlin.
Yeah.
All right. All the Elvish sailors, all clean, shaven, wearing loincloths, and that's it. Heavily tanned from working in the sun all day, every day. You get in. There are allocated chairs for you to sit upon. The ship turns around and it zips over the water. It's like skating on the water rather than actually sailing in it incredibly quickly. And you get from the island straight towards these towers. And as you're getting closer and closer to the towers, you realize that these 6 towers, each tower is 500 or 600 feet tall. They are huge. Hwoden Lee is dwarfed in comparison. Maybe up to 300 yards wide, just colossal structures. 300 yards, yeah. Just huge. And you are taken into the one, which I now remember is the commerce for trade. And you are brought in amongst hundreds of others of these little catamaran-like ships, disembarked, and the guide indicates that you need to go to the port authority to basically get processed in. The port authority just asks for name, city of origin, and duration of stay.
Now here's the question: if we give real names or not?
Certainly not. My name is Bill.
Port of origin?
Not Hwoden Lee.
You need to be specific.
A nearby town to
Tull. Duration of stay?
This is a tricky one. How long do we want to?
Just say 1 week and then we can always.
Yeah, okay. 1 week.
And then you are handed a very small silver medallion. You are to keep this on your person at all times. If you are found without this medallion, you will be arrested.
Very good.
Hello. Also, Billy. Tull. Oh, 1 week.
You're given a disc.
I'm Lily, and this is my son, Dilly. And we've come on from Tull.
The prince, for a moment, is about to correct you that he's not. He's a prince. He's royal, and then he realizes what the game is and he shuts up.
Good.
Yeah.
Boys are learning.
Yeah.
Nim from Tull, here for a week.
You are all given your discs and then waved through these fairly interesting looking doors, very simple. And the ornamentation is white on white with maybe some silver if they're feeling adventurous.
Gaudy.
Yeah. It's like, oh, is it too much? If you have to ask that question, then it is. Remove it immediately. Inside, however, it is as if you are back in the streets of Hwoden Lee. There are merchants from all over Braxia selling their wares. Everything and anything could possibly be purchased here. Each floor, and there are 30 floors going up, is dedicated to a specific commodity. There might be livestock, there might be this, there might be that, there might be the next thing. And these large winch-operated elevators, there are these very large golems inside of the large wheels that drive these elevators, are going constantly up and down and up and down. And there are, as you are walking in, a line of young, you're not sure, they could be anywhere between the age of 15 and 50, elvish slaves are ready. And as you are walking forward, one of their controllers steps forward. Have you been to Quethlin before?
First time.
No.
You are required to have a guide.
Oh, that's lovely.
And as he says that, a youngster steps forward of indeterminate age and says, I will be your guide. I am 9.
You're 9. Is that your name or how old you are?
Yes. Where would you like to go?
Okay.
We would like to go to the Twilight Order Protectorate, please.
Please, will you follow me? This will take some time. If you are infirm, if you have a medical condition, or if you are unable to walk, please let me know now.
Ageist bullshit.
Maybe a trolley for this one?
I have 12 constitution.
The reason why I state this is that it is in the 3rd tower on the 20th level.
Oh. Oh, in that case. I might get a little tired.
You know, like in the zoo, they have those kids. You can drag them around with a little cart.
Yeah.
We can put you in a little cart if you want.
Okay. Yeah, why not? Fuck walking, yeah?
Very well. There is a cost. It is 3 silver per person.
Okay. You've got the pass.
Yeah.
Are you paying for everybody or just for Godfrey?
Just for Gottfried.
Follow me, please. He leads you all to a very curious-looking alcove that is covered in these very cryptic, arcane runes. And he steps forward. There is another elvish slave standing there. He speaks to... Does he speak Elvish?
I think I do. Oh shit, I don't.
No. He says something. The slave nods. Please enter.
Fascinating. I'll get in.
He vanishes.
See you later, mother.
If you will now follow me, please. The walk will take approximately 90 minutes.
Is this a teleportation device?
That is correct.
Maybe we should not leave our friend Gottfried. Billy.
Friend?
Billy. Here's 12 more silver pieces. Shall we go through?
All right, as you say, Nim.
Mm-hmm.
Each one of you stepped, well, you could all fit in, and suddenly you're all standing next to Godfried. It feels as if you have had someone inject water into your stomach directly from your mouth and then suck it back out again. There's a sort of a hollowness inside.
Oh. That was not a pleasant experience. Oh.
Constitution saving throw. It's okay.
It's like,
I'm used to this from my Misty Step. It's okay.
The sensation will pass, says 9 as he steps out behind you.
Oh, thanks very much, 9. Much appreciated. Do you like going up and down in that, or do you prefer walking? Or you got any preferences in?
Which would you prefer?
Oh, I just want to get to know you. You're our guide. It seems like a good idea to get to know our guide.
If you would prefer I walk, I can walk back.
No. I prefer you're with us. Much better you get to ride up in that as well.
If you say so. Please follow me as I continue to take you to the sanctuary.
Please lead on.
They all right around here?
Should I tip her? What do you think?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Do they tip here?
I don't know. We can find
I
out.
don't think so. I think.
It's always so complicated.
Yeah.
You eventually arrive at another white building within this tower. And the entranceway is like all of the other entrances. It is not grand. It is not in any shape or form saying what it is, other than a very discreet silver plaque, which states that this is a House of the Twilight.
Right, this is your show.
Please, it is a place of quiet, of reverence. Keep your voice down, Gottfried.
Oh yeah,
Keep
because
your charm to yourself.
Well,
Georgina,
that's yeah.
please
You
follow
should do
me.
that.
I've only ever conducted myself with the utmost respectability in these sorts of places.
Doran is
Actually.
just remembering the ashes
Yeah.
all over the ground.
Which the amount he's been talking about his god on that whole time we've been on the boat, it's really starting to get on Georgie's wick. So she's aching for some ashes to smash.
Okay.
9 will remain outside and will wait for you to return.
Okay.
George, you'll give him a bit of flapjack. Enjoy that whilst you're waiting for us. If you want, you don't have to, but if you
What
like,
would you like me to do with this?
I would like you to do as you please with it.
She would like you to eat it.
If you want to, though, you don't
And
have to.
pretend like you've enjoyed it.
No, they don't have to do that if they don't want to. I just want to
I
give you a
think he
gift to
has
say
to
thank
be
you.
told.
Eat it! For God's sake, we have business to do. Talking to
Goodness
this.
sake.
The
person.
slave eats the food.
Let's move on now, yeah?
Give him a chance.
He's a creature of logic. I respect this.
This is an unusual place. We don't know exactly how they behave, so let's tread with caution and see what comes of it.
There's no problem in being nice to people.
Shall we enter the sanctuary?
Very well. You enter the sanctuary. It is not much dissimilar from outside. There are elvish slaves moving about. Not as bleak as Twilight. The Twilight house in Hwoden Lee, because everything's white. So it's very calm kind of space. Immediately a young acolyte comes up to you, notices your symbol. You are welcome here.
Thank you, acolytes. We would speak with Gavrel if she is available. The Veilkeeper.
He nods. If you will wait here. Maybe a minute later, striding down the stairs is this very, very robust looking individual. They hold themselves like a warrior. And Gavrel comes down the stairs. Have you met Gavrel before?
I don't believe so. No, I have not been to this city before. So maybe a formal function of some description, but I don't think...
Christmas party.
Christmas party, yeah. It's wild.
I'd say you guys go nuts.
I meditated so hard. Fucking Twilight, motherfucker! Yeah.
No.
As she comes down, she nods at the rest of you, but looks directly at you, Doran. We are honored by your presence.
Thank you, Veilkeeper. We are here on a matter of some urgency and some secrecy. Is there someplace we can go to speak in private?
She nods and leads you up into what are arguably her private chambers. These have some very rare demonstrations of personality. There are 4 books on a shelf, very neatly stacked in ascending height, as well as on her desk, which is carved out of white marble, there is a single solitary sphere of pure silver.
Okay.
You may speak freely.
Thank you, Veilkeeper.
What does this do? And I grab the silver sphere.
You grab the sphere?
Yeah.
Give me a Constitution saving throw.
Oh, jolly good. That's a +0, and that's a 3.
That's a 3.
That's a 3.
Okay. So, Okay.
Roll up a new character, mate.
No. I'm just trying to decide how to do this. Right.
Oh, it's a single gulper.
It's a single gulper. It is. All right. So, right.
Dude, you may have. Yeah. Okay.
No, it's all good. It's
No regrets.
All good. All good.
That's what the channel wants. So he's going to explain how he came to this decision.
Yes, how I came to this decision. Yeah. Okay. So, as Avery grabs the sphere, the Veil Keeper is in mid sort of lurch towards stopping you from doing that. Avery and the sphere vanish.
What just happened?
Where did he go, Veilkeeper?
That is unfortunate.
Where did he go?
You are now standing knee-deep in ash. The space around you is completely dark. This is not surprising. You arrived... Well, it actually is surprising because you arrived in the morning, and now it feels as if it's nighttime. Ash is slowly drifting down around you. You can really see it starting to gather on your shoulders, and you think there is a forest in front of you, but a forest that must have come from the dead of winter, for it is completely bare of leaves and foliage. It is absolutely silent, except for the hiss of ash as it drops to the ground.
Hello?
Are we learning yet?
You shout hello, and for a moment there is no response. But then there is a howling snarl from somewhere around you. It sounded as if it was... Give me a survival check.
That's a dirty 20.
It sounded as if it was no more than a mile away. But that was the sound of a creature hearing your sound.
I'll hunker down low, sort of squat in on myself.
The ash piles up around you.
Do I still have the orb in my hand?
You do, yes.
I start just tapping it. Just
Back.
Back.
Return. Go. Back.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Meanwhile,
Where did he go?
the elf seems to have changed in color. She was pale to begin with. She's now almost white. I regret that your companion is most likely dead.
What?
Explain yourself, Veilkeeper.
That was an artifact that we have recently acquired from an individual that the Twilight Order has been investigating.
What?
Go on.
How can touching a ball just make you disappear and die?
Magic. Where has he gone? It's very important.
I'm so happy.
Perhaps I should speak with you alone, Dusk Knight.
Quickly.
All right.
Fine, if it gets him back, yeah, we'll go outside.
Please, friends.
Certainly.
Yeah. Come on, Dilly.
He follows along. Why did I get called Dilly? It
I'm
sounds
called
silly.
Lily. Yeah, well, they chose Billy and Billy, so it just made sense.
She looks at you.
If it helps, I'm going to use my detect thoughts to try and earwig this conversation.
Oh, are you going to let the...
Well,
no, because you can just do
I'm not going to go
surface
deep,
thoughts.
just surface thoughts. So,
All right.
Yeah. Sorry, mate. Gotta be done.
A member of the Twilight Seekers, our investigative branch of the Twilight Order, has been tracking an individual within the democracy that has been attempting to gather knowledge that is forbidden.
And this knowledge would be pertaining to teleportation or to artifacts of some description. What exactly? Heretical knowledge?
I will need to consult with the Duskwarden to determine your exact level of clearance in terms of how much information I can give you. Suffice it to say, this individual was going to use that device to escape the Seekers. The Seekers were, however, triumphant and prevented the individual from using that sphere.
And you just had this sphere lying around in your office for anyone to accidentally brush into it. Is that right? Do I understand that correctly?
The artifact was placed upon my desk as I was attempting to identify exactly its purpose and its origin.
Well, do you have a way of contacting the Duskwarden?
I do, and I shall. But I fear that it will avail us nothing. For unless you have a way of interplanar travel, we are unlikely to be able to retrieve your companion.
Interplanar travel. Let me see. Level 5.
No, level 5.
five.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I've had like 5 minutes in this place just to really sit and think.
Yeah. You know what? Maybe I need to change my ways.
So, I mean, Veilkeeper, I am too low. Halvoth has not granted me this power yet. But surely there is someone here in this city who might have such power, or not.
It is not a question of capacity. It is a question of authority. Our mandate extends to this plane. Sending in any kind of individuals to any other planes is not a decision that you nor I could make. That purview relies specifically with the Duskwarden and the Council.
Well, we need to contact the Duskwarden as soon as possible. Are we on a clock here? Do you know how long this person has in this extraplanar location?
Well, that entirely depends. How long do you think your companion can survive in the Shadowfell? And we'll be back next week. We'll be back next week. I mean, what craziness, what shenanigans, who knew, right? It's a sphere, it's a metal sphere on a desk. Anyway, as per tradition, we will roll the dice of destiny, and one of my lovely players has actually given me a list of what the numbers mean. So here we go.
It's Doran again!
This guy, man. This guy.
I mean, so yes, favourite moment.
Favourite moment?
Or thought.
I mean, favourite moment was Avery grabbing the the sphere of annihilation / teleportation into planar travel and disappearing and sending this whole campaign into a somewhat new direction.
Little tangent.
Little tangent.
Little thing, yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, that was great. We'll be back next week, but before we go, anybody got anything exciting going on? I know you do.
I do. Please go and check out No Small Roles, D&D podcast. We have all actors in the cast, and our DM composes the music for every episode. So it's quite nice music, but we don't have the lovely visuals that we have here because it's just a podcast. But it's a good one.
But you got music.
We got music.
So I have to up my game now, but write music.
Maybe we can do a collaboration.
I could hum.
Yes.
Exactly the same thing.
We're just hum in the background.
I can only hum one key though, or tone. We can build. I mean, it's not very exciting music, but it's still music.
I'm a fast starter, twisted fast.
No. Right, we'll see you all next week. Goodbye.